Okay, let's get started with step one. So you should have your packet, the Keep It Simple and Sensible 4-step meal planning system. And what we want to look at first is step one. So I believe before we even talk about food, we have to look at those underlying things that hold us back from being successful. What is going on in your mind? What are the stories you're telling yourself that have either sabotaged you or keep you from even starting? And what I want to explain, and you'll see on this first sheet, that our mind, there's the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. The conscious mind is only about 12% of our overall brain power that provides us that willpower, that logic. And then 88% of our power of the brain is subconscious, and it is created by beliefs. Beliefs can be both limiting or empowering. We're going to talk about the limiting ones and the empowering, and how they can help us. The habits that we currently have. So obviously there are habits that help you and habits that hinder you. And then there's just this mechanism we have in our brain that is designed to protect us. It sees change as, but at first it sees it as a reason to pause, a reason to question what's going on. Why are we making changes? Is this safe? And so because your brain is designed for survival, it wants to make sure you're okay. So when something changes from what it's normally used to, that's back in the subconscious. So that's kind of where we run on autopilot. And you'll start doing change, and it brings in that conscious brain, and then that tug of war kind of starts to happen. So our willpower starts tugging with our beliefs and our current habits and that protective mechanism. So we want to bring those more into alignment. And so that's what your step one exercise is going to do. So just know that it's not just willpower is the reason why you're maybe haven't been successful in the past, or why the stopping is happening before you even start. So the first thing we're going to do, and because this is where the foundation begins of building a plan, is obviously, what are your goals? And your goal may be to lose an X amount of pounds. It may be able to fit your certain, item of clothing. It may be that you have health issues. You need to lower your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol. Maybe you want to just have more energy, be more active. And so we want to look at that and just brain dump that and get it down on paper. So, and what I'd like you to also do is delineate what is your first goal that you want to achieve in your first 30 days, in your first month. And then what is a more long-term goal? And then the 30-day goal, we're actually going to break that down, because I think when we look too far out, there's too big of a gap from where we're at to where we want to go. So we have to shorten that gap. So we'll do that too, because everything is achievable, but we have to take the first step first, right? And that's what you're doing with this step one. So we're going to start with your goals, and that's going to become your vision. I really want you to see yourself achieving that goal. So again, we're going to bring the gap in, see yourself achieving that 30-day goal, and then we'll break that down again so you can continue every day, when week to week you see yourself, I got it this week, I got this week. And before you know it, it's been 4 weeks and you're achieving that 30-day goal. So let's look at that. Do not prejudge yourself based on what you've done in the past, because we're going to look at that here in the next page when we're looking at our why. So I just want you to, if you knew you could not fail, what would your 30-day goals be? What would your 90-day goals be? And write that down. Okay, now we are going to, and that's our vision, is our forward goal, right? Our forward thing that we're going to look toward, but we do have to back it up. We have to look at the past, because the past is where your why comes from. So when I talk with women and I ask them what are their goals and they want to lose weight and get into shape, and I need them to be more specific. So really, what do you want to achieve? And that's what you're going to be writing down on your goal sheet. And then I ask them, why is that important? and they say, well, I want to be able to fit into my jeans. I want to lose 10 pounds. And that is not, or I want to feel better. Like those are not actually the reason why you're doing what you're doing. It is what you want to achieve by doing what you're doing, by showing up to eat healthier, maybe exercising if that's going to be in your plan. But your why really comes from past experiences. So we have to look at that. So on this sheet, it is broken into 2 pieces. So the top part, and if you need another sheet of paper, pull out a notebook, pull out your journal if you use a journal. And I want you to just brain dump. I don't want you to think about what you're gonna write. I just want you to write. And gave you a couple of questions to prompt that. What has held you back from achieving your goals up to this point? We want to know where you've been that has gotten you to where you're at, and how we're going to use that to drive you forward. But we do have to look at this past. What obstacles typically come up that have sabotaged you before? Maybe you've tried all the diets like I had up to a certain point. I would see some success, but then I'd see that setback and I would lose that confidence. And over time, you keep trying new things, and maybe having success, but always having that setback. Your brain just sees that as, again, it's that protective mechanism. Like, we're not going to do that because it doesn't create this positive environment, mentally. And your beliefs become limiting beliefs, right? So that then plays against you. And there's actually, your brain is amazing. And very powerful. And when you repeatedly do things without success, it sees there is a process that happens in your brain, and it sees that repetition that doesn't get you where you want to go, and it kind of puts the brakes on for you before you even get started. So if you're thinking you're relying just on willpower, or like you can't even get started anymore, you just don't have that motivation, that is why. So that's why we really have to dive into this mindset step 1 piece. Okay, so what obstacles have sabotaged you before? What beliefs are limiting you from being successful or thinking that you can be successful? So when you're writing down your experiences of the past, there could be different things that could be either empowering or limiting. So maybe you did have a period of time where, man, I was on it, I was working out regularly, I was eating healthy, I was happy doing it, I achieved such great results, I felt so good. So that's an empowering belief, knowing it is possible for you. But then we have limiting beliefs too, right? So we're going to use that empowering belief to know it's possible for you. And if you could do it before, you can do it again. But we have to do it in a way that it allows you to sustain it. That's why we're keeping it simple and sensible. So limiting beliefs may be that you've tried all the diets in the past, and every time you go to your closet, you look at your closet and your mind just starts that chatter. It's like, nothing's gonna fit. We got nothing to wear. Your husband doesn't think you're sexy anymore, or you're always gonna be this way. You're older. You've had a couple of kids. You're just gonna have to settle being the way you are and maybe buy some bigger clothes. Those are limiting beliefs, and we don't have to go there. We can use that as fuel. Because I'm telling you now, it's possible to achieve your goal. You have to believe in it. But we want to look at what is currently going on in your mind. And you're here to learn to make meal planning easier. But why? I want to know why. Maybe you just don't know where to start. Maybe you feel like you're eating healthy, but you're just not seeing results. So obviously, there needs to be some adjustments, which was my case. I was starting to eat really healthy, except for my healthy looked like, lean cuisines for dinner every night, and Diet Pepsi, and the 100-calorie cookies. Not necessarily the best choices, but better. I wasn't totally off the rails. But so then just some small adjustments is really what it took, and then able to sustain this for over 5 years. What experience has brought you to this point? So really, what is kind of driving you to have signed up for this and to do this? What is that thing? For me, my personal experience is that when I first started, I had my son at 40, and I would tell him I'm You know, he wanted to play, and I just didn't have the energy. I was still carrying around some of that baby weight, even when he was a, 1-year-old, between 1 and 2, and he was starting to get more active, wanting to play. And it's just like, Mommy can't do it. And then when he was 2, and wanting to play horsey, and I just like, I can't, and I just don't have energy. And I'm like, but I knew that I needed to make a change at that point, because my father had passed away from a sudden heart attack. I was 18 at the time, but I lost my dad, and my dad never got to see me as an adult, never got to see me get married, never got to see me have my son. And I didn't want my son to be in that position. I thought, but if I don't start taking care of myself now, by the time he's 18, I'm going to be toast. Like, if I can't play with him now, I don't have the energy. Something has to change if I'm going to be around for him and my grandchildren, right? And I want to live a full active life. So that was my initial driver. It still drives me today. But because my dad died of a heart attack, my mom died of cancer, and they both, I think, were very premature deaths. That too also drives me to show up, because I want to live this full active life as I continue to get older, and I'm 54 now, so it's been a process, and I'm happy to say that it's one that you can sustain. So what experiences have brought you to this point now that is going to help you know that the vision is possible? It's going to not be a negative experience, but now a positive experience that's going to drive you and provide you that inspiration. So your people can motivate you. You can gain inspiration from other people. Really, if you think of the word inspiration, it is in. Like, you have to have that within, and that's what we're trying to get to. So now, as you take this and use it as your foundation, as we build the plan, and we're going to keep it simple and sensible so it's doable for you, you're going to reframe the subconscious mind to come in line with your willpower, where your action lies. You're going to reframe your beliefs. You're going to create new healthy habits, ones that help you, don't hinder you. And you're going to take that protective mechanism in your brain, and it's going to say, oh, look at this girl. She's doing it. We feel good. Let's do more of that. So in your conscious brain, where the willpower is, that's where your logic, that action comes from. The subconscious brain is your identity. So with the goal that when we have to see ourselves, and that's creating that identity, seeing yourself, achieving that goal, you create this, instead of the action, it's the being. It's who are you becoming? And those get into alignment and make you unstoppable. All right. So super important. And I just want you to end with creating yourself a positive why statement. So when you don't want to do the meal planning, when you want to just totally jump off plan, which you can still do and not totally sabotage the whole thing. We're going to talk about that. What's going to be that why, your personal driver that is going to connect you to your vision and allow you to take the action. And let me just, there's this cycle that happens, and we have to have the belief that will drive your action, and your action creates confidence, and confidence is a companion to success. And when you're feeling successful, it boosts your beliefs. When your beliefs are starting to really get more empowering than they are limiting, you take the action. The action continues to create your confidence, and you continue to see success. So we have to start with this mindset piece. Complete your homework, and then send that to me so that we can discuss it on a one-on-one level, and make sure that you are set to move on to step 2, where we take your goal and make your plan.